father, and the songs that made them feel at home. "I'm working on a song," Charlie admitted, picking up his guitar. It's about waiting for the right moment." He played a few chords, the melody soft and haunting. "Charlie," she began, her voice soft. "I know," he said, setting the guitar aside. "The job comes first, always." "Does it have to?" she asked. Before he could answer, his phone buzzed. A lead on the watch. The deckhand, Blaine, had been spotted. The moment was gone, tucked away for another night. Chapter 4. Distilled Secrets. The murder of William Devereux at his own distillery brought a different kind of tension. This wasn't about hidden codes. It was about family. The Devereux children were at each other's throats. And the master distiller, Grant, seemed to be hiding a secret ingredient that was literally to die for. Rex's nose was the star of this investigation. Charlie watched with pride as the dog identified the scent of Labrador tea, the secret botanical that had caused so much strife. But the case took a dark turn when the spirit's critic, Simone Sawyer, was poisoned. "It's tetrazoline," Sarah said, her face pale as she read the lab results. "Eye drops. It's a classic way to poison someone without leaving an obvious trace. It causes the heart to slow down until it just stops." Charlie felt a chill. The calculated cruelty of the killer reminded him of why he did this job and why he was so protective of the people in his inner circle. "Stay close to me on this one, Sarah," Charlie said, as they prepared to confront the Devereux family. "I can take care of myself, detective," she reminded him, though she didn't move away. "I know you can, but I'd rather you didn't have to." The climax at the Devereux mansion was a Shakespearean tragedy. Melanie Devereux, the daughter who felt she had been overlooked, had drowned her father in a vat of his own gin. When Rex cornered her, she didn't show remorse. She showed only the cold, hard shell of someone who had let bitterness consume her. As Melanie was led away, Sarah stood by the distillery vats, looking tired. Charlie walked up to her and handed her a cup of water. "Another one for the books," he said. "They're all starting to feel like the same book, Charlie. Greed, anger, betrayal." She looked at him, her eyes searching his. "Is that all there is?" "No," Charlie said firmly. "There's the people who stand against it. There's us." Chapter 5. The Cape Royal Heartbeat. The final straw came with the Crainer case. Jason Crainer and his son Tyler were the royalty of the Street John's underworld, vicious, well-funded, and seemingly untouchable. When they murdered a low-level snitch named Malcolm Carter, a witness named Wyatt Darner fled into the woods of Cape Royal. Charlie, Jesse, and Rex went in after him. Sarah stayed at the trailhead, managing the logistics, her voice a constant, comforting presence in Charlie's ear over the radio. "Charlie, be careful. We have intel that Jason has sent a professional hit woman, Serena Rickett, into the woods after the witness. She's lethal." "Copy that, Sarah. We're moving to the high ground." The woods were a maze of thick brush and sudden cliffs. When the shots rang out, Charlie didn't even feel the impact at first. He just felt the sudden cold, the way the world tilted. Mark, you've been hit." Jesse's voice was panicked. Charlie slumped against a tree, his hand moving to his shoulder. It was slick with blood. Rex was there instantly, his body a warm shield, a low growl vibrating in his chest. "I'm fine." Charlie wheezed into the radio. "Sarah, tell the team to move on Rickett. Don't let her get the witness." Charlie, talk to me." Sarah's voice wasn't professional anymore. It was raw. It was terrified. The hours that followed were a blur. Charlie moved on pure instinct, guided by Rex's silent commands. They set a trap for Rickett, using the terrain and the shepherd's incredible speed. When the police helicopter finally descended and the tactical team swarmed the clearing, Rickett was pinned under Rex's paws, and Charlie was barely clinging to consciousness. The first person he saw when the stretcher reached the trailhead was Sarah. She was running, her face streaked with tears, ignoring the orders of the EMTs. "Charlie," she sobbed, grabbing his hand as they loaded him into the ambulance. "I told you I'd be fine," he whispered, his voice cracking. "You're an idiot," she said, her voice trembling. "Don't you ever do that to me again." She didn't let go of his hand all the way to the hospital. And as the sirens wailed and the lights of Street John's flashed past the window, Charlie knew that the waiting he had sung about was over. Chapter 6. The Long Road Back. The recovery was slower than Charlie liked. Street John's in the autumn was a city of transitions, the air sharpening into a cold blade that smelled of wood smoke and the North Atlantic salt. For the first week, he was confined to a hospital bed, a landscape of sterile white and the rhythmic beep of monitors. Sarah was a constant. She didn't just visit. She brought the world to him. Files from the station, real coffee that tasted like heaven compared to the hospital swill, and stories about Rex's antics back at the precinct. "He's driving Jessie crazy," she said one afternoon, sitting in the chair beside his bed. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, but her smile was genuine. "He keeps trying to sniff out the donuts. Jessie hides in the bottom drawer of his desk. Jessie thinks his desk is haunted by a very hungry ghost." Charlie laughed, though it pulled at the stitches in his shoulder. Rex always did have a nose for trouble. "And sugar." He reached out his good hand, hesitating for a second before resting it on hers. "Sarah, you don't have to spend every free minute here. You have your own life." "This is my life, Charlie," she said softly, her fingers lacing through his. "Don't try to push me away just because you're feeling vulnerable. It won't work." When he was finally released, the trailer felt smaller than he remembered, or perhaps it was just that he was seeing it through the lens of having almost lost it. Sarah helped him settle in, moving with a domesticity that made Charlie's heart ache. She stocked his fridge, arranged his pillows, and most importantly reunited him with Rex. The reunion was silent and profound. Rex didn't jump or bark. He simply rested his head on Charlie's lap and stayed there for hours. "He missed you more than he can say," Sarah observed from the doorway. "I missed him too," Charlie admitted. He looked up at her, the golden hour light of the setting sun, casting long shadows across the trailer. "I missed this." As the days turned into weeks, the physical pain faded, replaced by a deepening emotional intimacy. They spent evenings on the small deck of the trailer, wrapped in blankets, watching the stars. They talked about the future, not just the next case, but a future that involved more than just being partners at work. "I've been thinking about what you said," Sarah said one night, her head resting on his shoulder. "About the moment being here all along. Every time we went into a dangerous situation, my first thought wasn't the evidence. It was you." Chapter 7. Shadows in the harbor. Just as Charlie was beginning to feel whole again, the past came knocking. The Craner case wasn't as closed as they had hoped. Jason Craner, even from behind bars, still held the strings of his organization, and a series of retaliatory hits began to plague the docks. "It's a power vacuum," Donovan explained during an emergency meeting at the precinct. Charlie was back on light duty, his arm still in a sling, but his mind as sharp as ever. With Jason and Tyler in custody, the smaller crews are fighting for the scraps, and they're blaming us for the disruption. A body was found floating near the Southside Hills, a dock worker who had been a key witness in the Craner investigation. Then, a small explosion rocked the forensic lab's evidence storage facility. "They're coming for the evidence," Sarah said, her voice tight with anger as she assessed the damage. "They want to bury the case before it even goes to trial." The threat became personal when Sarah's car was followed. One evening, as she was leaving the station, a dark sedan trailed her through the winding streets of Street John's. She handled it with her usual calm, leading the car straight toward a police checkpoint, but the message was clear. No one was safe. "That's it," Charlie growled when he heard the news. He was standing in the lab, his face a mask of cold fury. "They're targeting you to get to me. Or to the evidence. We need to move the Craner files to a secure location," Sarah said. "Somewhere they won't expect." "My trailer," Charlie suggested. "It's off the grid, and I've got the best security system in the world." He looked at Rex, who let out a sharp, affirmative woof. For the next week, the trailer became a fortress. Jessie and Sarah worked late into the night, digitizing files and cross-referencing shipping manifests, while Charlie and Rex kept watch. The tension was high, but it drew them even closer. They were a unit professional, personal, unbreakable.